Mike Show, na ni furaha kujiunga nanyi wapenzi wasikilizaji na watazamaji. We are streaming live from Facebook outside Kilimanjaro studios, and we are on YouTube, so please remember to share our live streams. Now later tonight in the social segment, we want to ask why Kenyans who live abroad like maintaining Kenyan phone numbers. In the last few days, however, there's been confusion about phone numbers being deactivated, and we'll have a conversation about that, so we want you to stay tuned. Na bila kusahau, tapokea mziki toka DJ wetu machachari mleta habari DJ OmoshFaya, na tutadunda kule viwanjani na Micah jezi yake nambari 7 mgongoni, akituletea habari za michezo. So moja kwa moja toka Kilimanjaro studios ni mimi mtangazaji na mwanahabari wako mpendwa Ali Badawy. Wengi wananiita mteule, na kule kwetu niite mjukuu wa Masai. Because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui, na sibagui. Karibuni tena.
Now, let's talk politics.
Now, this hour in news and politics, it's not going to be so much politics tonight because we're having a discussion about death while living abroad. Yes, we're going to talk about death today. How much does it cost? What do you need to know, and how prepared are you for death? We have an expert on set with us, so stay tuned for that and more. I'm your news and politics anchor Ali Badawy. It's Friday the 8th of April 2022, and we are coming to you live from Kilimanjaro studios outside of Washington, D.C. So please remember to subscribe to our OneMic Show YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at OneMic Show. On panel with me tonight is Mr. OneMic Kamakawa. We have our resident DJ OmoshFaya. Micah will be with us via Zoom, and our super producer is none other than Mubelwa Bandio. And without much further ado, we are going to get started right away because we have a lot to cover tonight. We're going to be talking about death. Now, we know Africans living in the U.S. tend to be quite generous in giving when tragedy strikes. Fundraisers easily net $50,000 within a week of someone dying, or within a week of a situation happening. Now, especially when we're talking about death. Now, deaths, however, tend to be very costly from the moment someone dies to the aftermath the family must face. Now, to help us talk about death in the diaspora is Africa Welfare Association Executive Director, Mr. Lawrence Muraya. Now, Lawrence is actually not new to Kilimanjaro Studios, so we welcome you back again, Lawrence. Lawrence, karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Ali, and the rest of the studio folks. It's nice to be back here. I'll say I'm new at this studio. This is looking lovely. I like it. Congratulations.
But you've been here before.
I've been here, but it was different.
How different was it?
We were seated in a corner.
That was pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
Yani he's not been back since.
No,
he's not been back since. Yeah, it was pre-COVID.
But
wow.
the cherry has not grown back.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
I think we also outgrew, like your mambo ya cherry. But karibu sana, we are very glad to have you in studio today. This is one of those conversations that I think there's a lot of discomfort people have, because people don't want to talk about death. People are living life, like enjoying themselves. So I want you to tell us why we should be thinking about death when we are just enjoying life and we are young. Why should we be talking about death?
Actually, we should not be talking about death. I'm not here to talk about death, so I'm not going to kill anybody or cause anybody to die.
Mm-hmm.
The discussion we should have is how prepared are you, because it's going to come for everybody. Everybody's going to go someday.
Yeah.
Now, if I use myself as an example, I don't want to be a burden to Omosh. If something happens to me, then now, Friday, you have to come Changa. It's expensive, and the numbers in the diaspora keep growing. People tell me that there's a curse in the diaspora. No, there isn't. If you look at the population in the diaspora, it's representative of the population in Kenya. So if a certain percentage of folks are dying in Kenya, it's the same in the diaspora. So there's nothing wrong with folks in the diaspora.
Okay.
What is happening is that we are getting fatigued when it comes to fundraising. We are depending on people, goodwill, because we have not planned.
Mchango.
If you look at the community we live in, the American community, you've never been invited by an American to Changa.
Now, like, cause that's very interesting. Is it just a cultural difference, or is it because they prepare and we don't?
It's both. Americans prepare. Other communities prepare, but for us, it's two-pronged. We like using it as an excuse that we don't want to talk or face it, and we don't want to spend money. And people have told me, when I'm dead, why should I care? Which is true. You won't know what we did with you. But you're being a burden to the rest of the community. If you look at the numbers, Kenyans in North America fundraise almost $4 million a year.
$4 million a
$4
year.
million a year.
Wow, that's a big number.
Now, if you use AWA, if they were all members of AWA, would use only 3% of $4 million. So even though we don't want to accept or look at it, on average, we spend about $1,100 every year doing mchangos.
Okay.
So if you're a member for $100, it means you keep $1,000 in your pocket. So we're doing ourselves a disservice by opting to do repatriation the most expensive way.
The most expensive way, meaning, like forking cash out of pocket in terms of mchango.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, listeners, you're tuned in to the OneMic show. We have Lawrence Murray in studio, and we're talking about death tonight. This is a subject, and like you said, we're not talking about death, but we're talking about just being prepared. And you mentioned, the Africa Welfare Association, which is actually known for repatriation assistance, and you're the executive director. Now, I want you to talk to us a bit about the process of repatriation after death and why a family may require assistance to accomplish this repatriation. Lawrence.
Thank you. First, the Africa Welfare Association is a non-profit for a specific reason. This is not what we do for our lives. This is really a non-profit to help the African diaspora, not just the Kenyan community abroad. We are there to cater for all Africans in the diaspora. We have members who are in South Africa, UK, all over. So it's open to any African who is not in their home country.
Okay. So this is it's not just a Kenyan organization.
No, it's not just a Kenyan organization. The only thing is it's Kenyans who came up with the idea. It's Kenyans who are behind the technology. And it's interesting when it comes to the technology behind it. And goes back to what we always say, we have to believe in ourselves, our abilities. Let's not downplay what we can do. The platform for the application, a major company that I'll not mention in Silicon Valley, could not be able to handle it. They got somewhere wakakwama. A young guy in Keno figured it out. And he said, this is how we're going to do it. So we have the expertise. We can do things. But I think we never believe in ourselves. And then we project. Just because I can't do something doesn't mean you can't be able to do it. So back to your question about repatriation.
Yeah.
It costs anywhere between 14 and 16,000 from the US to take somebody up to the final resting place. The last one we did, which was last week, was about 16,000.
Okay.
And we spent from the funeral home in the East Coast, air freight, the casket, funeral home in Nairobi, up to Shags, up to the final resting place.
Oh, so this goes all the way up to Shags. It's not to the airport in Nairobi.
Up to Shags.
Okay.
Yes.
All
anywhere in Kenya will take you home. Now, when it comes to other countries where we have a challenge, we have a workaround. We'll help families still get to their final resting place. So we want to take away the burden of fundraising when families are grieving. We want to make sure that we are there through the embassy paperwork. We want to smoothen things, because when you've lost a loved one, that's not the time to try and figure out what paperwork and all that. Just leave that to us. We'll work with the funeral home, the airlines, everything. We just liaise with the family for them to tell us when they want to travel, etc.
Okay. Again, you're listening to the OneMic show. And now I want to bring, like the rest of the panel into the conversation. DJ OmoshFaya, karibu sana. Mike, karibu sana. And then, like we have a number, to call 202-683-4570 *5 to speak. And we also have Micah who is on Zoom. And I'm sure they're all curious, and have a number of questions to ask. So I'm going to start with you, OmoshFaya. You've been involved in a lot of fundraisers, and these things are so frequent, and they became, like in the advent of COVID, to me it seemed they became more frequent. Or I think just generally over time, they became more frequent, in terms of every now and then you find that you're being added to a WhatsApp group. Sometimes it's even a WhatsApp group where you're just seeing strangers, but there's a Kenyan who's being who's asking for money to send a body back home. So I mean, what is your view on Kenyans' uptick on preparation when it comes to mambo ya mazishi?
These days, actually, people seem to be a little bit more prepared than I'd say probably pre-COVID. It seems people are getting better. And again, I can only speak for myself, and being in the DC, Maryland, Virginia, or DMV area, a lot of times it's basically where there's a high population of Kenyans. So, if it's Jersey, if it's Texas, if it's, say, New York, here in DC. So people have some sort of chamas or groups, or so to speak, where they have they changa money for repatriation. However, the money that comes out of that a lot of times may not necessarily be enough to take that particular, to get a body from here all the way, back home to the final resting place. Maybe you may be lucky to get to Nairobi. Then from Nairobi, you have to find a way to show up. And to me, I think AWA would help alleviate even that mambo ya, kuwa kwa chama, and then having to raise funds and so on. And I'm not saying that you should not, be part of a community and do this Harambee thing that we do, but you can reduce the amount that's going to come out of your pocket if you basically use, an organization like AWA. So to me, I see where AWA would bridge that gap and help alleviate a whole lot of the issues that one would need to deal with. Like, you have to deal with a funeral home, you have to go deal with the embassy, you have to deal with sometimes the coroner, depending on how somebody passed away. Then of course, sasa now, that's not talking about zile mambo za familia that you have to deal with in terms of the day-to-day phone calls, trying to coordinate things here, have a service here. And so some of those are their expenses that would not necessarily be covered by certain things. And if you have AWA cover at least one part, then you could probably go to your chama to help you maybe cover your local stuff here. Okay. Maybe the service, things like that. We've gone through it. We've seen this happen with people who are very close to us in the area in the last year. I think in the last year,
yeah.
we've gone through quite a bit, or somebody who loses a parent, and the parent could be in another country. They have to fly from here to that other country, get their parent, then take their parents home. So there's a lot of moving parts involved. It's a lot.
Okay.
A lot.
All right. And I see, watu wameingia hapa wanasikiliza. Maina Wanjoki, karibu sana. Slay Odwor, Njeri Wanyeri, karibu sana. And I think, there was, Slay was asking, did he say any African can join regardless of where you are? I believe that's what Lawrence said, and Jerry confirms that. So these are some of the things that we've been discussing, we've been talking about, and we've been emphasizing. And for the people who are listening to us or who are watching us, I want you to comment and tell us, if you are prepared, if you have some kind of insurance, be it life insurance or any kind of funeral or anything. Are you prepared for death? Do you have any kind of preparation? Like, if something happened to you, what would happen? Would it be, people panicking and starting to get chango? Do you have plans? Do you know what will happen? Do your parents know what will happen if something happens to you here? If you're a parent and you have children, is there a contingency plan that you have, for your children in case, something happens to you suddenly and your children are, maybe you're a single parent and your children all of a sudden do not have a parent? Are you prepared for that? I want to bring in Micah to the conversation. Micah, sijui kama unatusikia. Salimia watazamaji and talk to us, Micah. Okay, we're gonna try to get Micah on board. I wanna go back to you, Lawrence. Regarding
Wait, Ali, I'm here. I'm here.
okay,
Sorry,
Micah.
I'm on get commute.
Yeah, Micah, go ahead.
Just to say, buddy, I'm a fan, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? Lawrence, how you doing? Thank you for visiting us again. And for me, where I want to chime in, where I want to jump in is, first of all, I know this is the second, no, this is the third time that you're having AWA here at the studios. And I know Ali introduced what AWA does or what they do, but one thing that we didn't mention is the product, unless it was mentioned or I didn't hear it. So I just wanted Lawrence to, first of all, give us the details of the product that they give. I know he explained what they do and how they're offering Africans, but there's usually those terms on what they do, like, well, how much you pay a month, what it does for you, in terms of who sending the body home, family members, blah, 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 blah. I believe that wasn't mentioned for the first time viewers, listeners who are listening to the show today.
Okay, Lawrence.
Thank you, Micah. And that's a good suggestion. So the association that's there for all Africans, just to confirm also the question Ali you had, it's for any African who's not in their home country. But to Micah's point, the association is a membership organization, meaning that you just go online, enroll. We do not ask for your ID. We don't care whether you're here legally. They're not illegal people, according to us. We're here to solve a problem. So as long as you're an African, not in your home country, just go online and apply. Membership goes according to their age. So, Micah, I could tell from your voice here about between 18 and 35. So if you were to enroll as a single person, it's only going to cost you $90 a year. That's all you're going to pay.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody who's a member passes away, you won't even know as a member. Take, for example, your car insurance. You all drive. So if you're all insured with Geico and somebody has an accident, Geico will never call you and say, please add some money because somebody in Jersey had an accident or whatever. You'll never know. So that's the same with AWA, that once you pay your membership fee for 1 year, you won't hear from anybody about giving any more money because we lost a member in South Africa or anywhere. So your membership is guaranteed. You pay your membership, done. What does that $90 give you? In the event that somebody passes on, we'll take over from the funeral home. We'll pay the funeral home, we'll pay for the casket, we'll pay for the airline, we'll pay for transportation in the home country, we'll pay for a funeral home in the home country, up to the final resting place. The whole idea is we don't want people to dip into their savings or depend on friends. In fact, we don't want people to claim from us. We want to pay upfront. And that's what we did last week. Somebody on the East Coast. We told them, we're going to pay everything. And at first, they didn't believe it. And they were able to take their person home and have a funeral. So it's straightforward.
So,
go ahead, Micah.
So my question for you is that, remember the last time we spoke, you said that you'll pay for one. Is it one or two family members plus the body to go back home? And it was more in terms of a child or a spouse. And I remember we had a conversation, and my question is just to have you guys considered to be like in your product delivery. Do you get an option, let's say, for somebody who's single by themselves, and then I get it for myself? I have nobody here but maybe my siblings, which would allow for my siblings to travel with my body if I can buy a package like that. And do we have such packages like that, or are we still just strictly to the nucleus family package?
So when you buy a single package, that's a little bit difficult to include other people. So what you're talking about is included in when you purchase as a single parent, a couple, or a family. So we have all those 4 tiers. So there's single parent, a couple only, or a family, which consists 2 adults and 2 children under the age of 21.
So the $90 is for a single person?
That's for a single person.
Okay.
So going back with Micah's age, 18 to 35, it would cost his family $200 per year.
Okay.
And nothing more. So
that's a very reasonable amount.
In the
That's
event,
a reasonable amount, yeah.
It is. In the event that somebody then passes on, in that family unit, the other 3 will get return air tickets. And it's not those gimmicks where we say, here's a ticket, now pay the taxes. We all know that sometimes airline taxes are higher than the fare.
Yeah.
So you get an actual ticket. And it doesn't matter whether it's high season, low season. Of course, you have to go. It's time to go. So we'll give you that ticket. We'll help you. We'll facilitate everything that you need. And that's it. You do not have to pay anything more.
Okay, and I think there are some people here who are already eager to join. Slay is looking to join, so Lawrence atupatie information, so this is even coming beforehand, even before we got a chance to ask you, Baba, because someone has already asked that question. Where can people go? Those who are ready right now. There are people who are ready to join right now, because I think people are hearing those numbers and they are astonished at how low cost this is, contrary to what a lot of people believe. You said $90 for a single person and up to $200 for a family, and this is for a whole year.
For a whole year.
Yeah,
But it depends on the age.
it depends on the age.
Right.
Okay, so it varies.
Yeah.
And then Slay also wants to know if you can pay monthly. So tell Slay first of all where she can go register, and I think Uno is gonna post the link on the comments, and just tell other people who wanna join where do they need to go.
Sure. So all our membership is done online. You do not need to send any paperwork to us. Just go online. It's africawelfareassociation.org. Once you go in there, you just set up an account. It takes about 2 minutes.
And it's Africa without an N.
Africa.
Africa, not
Yes.
African.
Yeah.
AfricaWelfareAssociation.org.
.org.
Okay. And you there, what information do you need to join?
So we just need the applicant's name, address, phone number, of course, the email. Then if they have children or a spouse, they'll list them there.
Okay.
And a next of kin.
What if you have a girlfriend?
We don't ask questions.
Okay.
Yes. You tell us who your unit is.
Okay.
And we'll register you.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that I can even put Ali and Omosh there, that if something happens to me, Ali and Omosh are the ones who are going to take me home.
Well, emotionally, they look under 21. They can be a dependent.
Okay. All right. Oh, wow.
But on a serious note, Micah,
You're very good at guessing ages.
but yeah, if somebody has dependents under the age of 21, then they'll be able to go and a spouse. Now, when it comes to spouses, we do not ask how you're together. It's not our business. So we
Okay.
have to solve a problem.
So you're not asking for a marriage certificate,
Those are
all
just
that.
papers.
Okay, so it's whoever
So
you
that-
list
so
as
that-
a
that- so
spouse. Okay.
I guess my question is this. My question is that if I'm getting for a family package, right? And I don't have kids, I'm just by myself, but I have maybe 3 brothers and sisters or 4 brothers and sisters. Can I get a family package and those brothers and sisters be my beneficiaries for that? If
Unfortunately,
something
no.
happens to me, they can go with, okay.
Think of it like health insurance. So we mimic how the health insurance tiers are set. So if you have your health insurance card, your brother cannot use it because that risk is assessed based on that family unit of 4 that you have.
Okay.
So for us to guarantee these benefits, maybe I should explain a little bit more. In the back end, we have insurance, and that's how we guarantee everybody's benefit.
Okay.
So there's never a time where we'll tell you we don't have enough money to pay because we did one last week. And that is the biggest difference between us and benevolent funds, which I was going to come to that you mentioned. Benevolent funds do play a vital role in the community.
AKA Chamas.
Chamas.
Okay.
Yes, they play a vital role. However, the difference here is that Chamas shoulder the entire risk. And the stories we've had is that when a Chama starts, you're told you'll be able to get XYZ dollars. But it's dependent on people meeting their obligations monthly or whatever way they collect the money.
Per incident.
But not everybody adheres to that.
Yes.
True.
So when it comes time to pay, you find that as much as the people managing it want to pay the amount that they had set out, there's just not enough money in the pot. With AWA, there's no pot. We're insured. So everybody's benefit is guaranteed. In fact, for Chamas, we're working with one called Ushirika in Texas. They're coming on as a Chama. We have a platform for Chamas to join us. And they still retain their identity as a Chama. But now they don't have that risk. So their
Okay.
members now have the guaranteed benefit.
Okay. And Pablo here is asking, what does the organization make for providing these services? And I know you mentioned that this is a non-profit. And I think this is a question that, like, because Kenyans are skeptical by nature, and whenever they see something, they see it as a biashara.
But
but I know you said this is a non-profit, so I think maybe try to distinguish between like what you're doing and maybe what like other for-profit organizations do when it comes to similar services.
Right. That's an interesting question, and it's something that we encounter. As an African community, I think we have to get past this jicho thing that what's in it for you and all that. We have a problem we're trying to solve. We have our day jobs. That's why we set this non-profit to help people, because in our day job, that's what we've been helping other people. But there was no solution for diaspora. But to let you know, as a non-profit, nobody in the non-profit is paid a dime, nothing. We're not looking to make any money from it. But there's a small percentage to run the organization, the website, the office, etc. But there's nobody. And we file our taxes, even as a non-profit, to the IRS. Anybody can go to the IRS website and you'll be able to see what we filed. So we're open, but we don't do this to put money in our pocket, if that does answer the question.
So Pablo basically can't come on as a partner, just let him know, because I think that's where he was headed.
Okay.
That question.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we welcome people. In fact, we've invited folks from other countries to participate as directors, but they're not there really to make anything. It's for them to be able to help their communities.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and this is very important. And Slay has another question. If someone who is a member is abroad and they lose someone at home, do they also get help with this?
Good question, but no. So when you buy membership, it's like it's just for you. If something happens to you, not if there's another incident which we cannot, project not even to verify. So remember I said we have insurance. So we sat with underwriters and said, this is what we want to give people in the diaspora. This is a package we want to give. We want to guarantee how much is it. So the figures that we have actually are actual calculations. We didn't just come up and say, it's good to charge 150. Those are actual calculations. That then we turn that money over to the insurance company and say, if anything happens, you are the one to avail the money. That's the agreement we have. And so far, we've been able to do that.
Okay. All right. I want to remind the listeners that you tuned in to the OneMic show. For those who want to call, the number is 202-683-4570, *5 to speak. We are talking to Lawrence Muraya, the Executive Director of Africa Welfare Association, an organization that is assisting Africans to get, I don't know that to call it insurance or to protect themselves, in case something happens to them, like in the event of death, to protect, your loved ones financially in case something happens to you upon death. So this is what we're talking about today. Now, there's a couple of other questions that are coming in, but before that, I just wanted to know, what about those who plan to be buried in the U.S.? Like, for example, we in the Muslim community, we are buried where we die. Like we don't transport, we typically don't transport bodies because we are buried preferably within 24 hours. Worst case scenarios maybe might go to 48 hours. So is there like any special discounted packages for us? Because yetu ni mambo chap chap.
Because you're moving faster.
We are moving faster.
Actually, earlier I said that we do not expect people to claim anything from us.
Okay.
But good point. When it comes to the Muslim community, because of the sunset rule, I think if you die in the morning, you have to be buried by sunset, etc.
Yeah.
We don't think there'll be enough time for somebody to contact AWA and for us to activate the payment.
Yeah.
Because it's happened by the next day.
Okay.
So you will be able to file a claim and we'll be able to pay.
Okay.
And it's not just for Muslims. There are people who make the US or whatever other country they are, that's their home, their second home. Their kids are there, so they say, no, don't take me back home. We will pay for those people as well to be laid to rest in the country that they choose. So you don't have to be taken home.
Okay.
And an interesting part also is if somebody who's a member in the diaspora visits home and something happens and they want to be brought back to the US or Canada or wherever they came from, we'll do that as well. It's very rare, but it goes both ways.
Okay, so let's say like if your family is here and you die in Kenya and you had planned maybe to be buried here, you can be brought back from Kenya back
Absolutely.
to the US to be buried here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
However, I have to say that there are certain times that's not possible. I haven't seen it in the recent past. If there's an outbreak, like back in the day when there was Ebola and all that, the government of the country you want to go to can say no. It happened once in Brazil where somebody could not leave Brazil. They were told, you stay with that person. There's no way they can come. And there's nothing you can do. That's why embassies come in. They have to give what is called a letter of no objection. Otherwise, if you don't get it, nobody will transport you.
Okay, and there's someone who's asking, how does repatriation look in cases of cremation? Is this an option?
It is. It is an option. So if somebody wants to be cremated, we pay for that as well. So when you become a member, you don't select where you want to go or what you want. The family will tell us. So you have to do your will. You have to let people know how the end, when the end comes, what's to be done with you. Our work is to facilitate and pay for those expenses when the time comes.
Okay, and Sibor here is saying, why do Kenyans come together for benevolence and death risk and not for investment in the US? I think that's a conversation that we can have, like that can be a whole show by itself.
That's for AWA part 2.
In fact, that's what we're trying to help.
Okay.
The money that we're putting in this GoFundMe's, them changos and all that, that's the money that can go into investments.
Yeah,
'Cause if
especially
people
for
are-
weddings.
Exactly. If people can just then be members.
Yeah. I'm just saying, yeah, those ones for pre-weddings, they can do much better. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Ali,
But one other
how
thing,
many years has it been?
No, but I was just bringing that up because that's one of the areas where, like there's death, of course, which is inevitable for all of us.
Correct.
But to me, like this pre-wedding chango is very unnecessary. But discussion for another day. That's another whole show.
AWA part 3.
Yeah. Sorry, we
Another
interrupted you, Lawrence.
so remember I said we just don't talk about death at AWA. So this year what we've done is increase the benefits or make them better for the living. So we're not just having the conversation of when I die. So we partnered with a major healthcare company, Cigna. A lot of you are familiar with Cigna. And now if you're a member of AWA and you don't have health insurance, or even if you have health insurance and you choose to, you're at home, you're feeling a certain way and you want to speak to a doctor, you can pick your phone, have a video conference with a doctor from Cigna, give you a diagnosis, and all you have to do is pay for your medication at CVS or whatever pharmacy you go to. That's an added benefit of AWA. You do not pay for it, but you decide if you want it or not.
So wait a minute. So for that, like $90 that you've paid for your coverage, is that inclusive in that $90 or is this something extra?
It's included.
So if I'm in Kenya and najisikia niko na Omicron hivi, like I can get to talk to a doctor, online, who's maybe in the US or whatever part of the world that doctor is,
Absolutely.
to diagnose you.
Yes, for
And
no charge.
And that's an enhanced benefit for no extra charge.
No extra. As long as you're a member. You'll
Okay.
just go in and get your signal number and all that. You call the doctor. They'll set up an appointment. You'll go through whatever they're asking you to do. The only thing that you need to pay for as a member is if they prescribe medication or another treatment. But the consultation, you do not need to pay anything.
Yes, and you're tuned into the OneMic show. This is so amazing. The website, I think we posted it because I think there were some people who are ready to join. It was Africa Welfare Association.org, and it's Africa without an N, just Africa. Africa Welfare Association.org, and that's where you can join. You'll see the different tiers, anywhere from $90 to $200, depending on whether you're single, whether you're doubles, or whether you're triples, or whether you're married, or whether you're young, whether you're between 18 to 35 like Micah, or whether you're between 21 to 28 like Omosh. There's a package for you. There's a package for you in there. So
And now to a pre-wedding peer.
Eh?
We'll take care of that.
what we're pre-wedding, I think you should
I think
exclude them.
those are the ones who will be dialing Cigna.
What we're pre-wedding, like you should have a clause if you've done a pre-wedding, then no. But anyway, I think everybody is welcome. Now, the other thing I'm curious about, I know this was an initiative that was started by Kenyans, but what other nationalities are you guys seeing, like joining the organization besides what other nationalities are you seeing popping up within your line of work?
We've seen a bit of interest from West Africa, none from North Africa. So we have West Africa and Southern Africa. Right. And the interesting part is when we do this kind of show, we do get calls. I was surprised when we got a call from somebody in Pretoria, South Africa.
Wow.
They are from Zimbabwe, and they said, I like this thing. I'm like, how did you hear about AWA? I like asking people how they heard about us. And it's amazing that a show like this is watched by people who are not even, from East Africa. Because somebody is, just surfing and all, he comes up and they join.
And it's amazing, like when we look at the stats of the show, there's actually a very big crowd from South Africa. I've always been very curious. I know there are Kenyans from South Africa, but South Africa is actually, interestingly enough, South Africa is ahead of, because Kenya, of course, is first, the US, and then Kenya, and then South Africa. South Africa comes before Tanzania. Bandio hapo itabidi,
I can tell you why.
Itabidi ufanye bidii kidogo watu Dar es Salaam watusikize.
So unamwona Omosh anaonekana kama mnani mzuri.
Si hivyo bana, inaonekana sasa
na hiyo hairstyle yake.
Hamna.
Anaonekana kama anatoka
Limpopo.
Hakuna.
Ama kwa Zulu Natal.
Hauna suluhu, hiyo ndio problem.
So swali kwa Lawrence.
Yes, Bandio.
So you talk about airline ticket. Is that the price of it? Assuming that I had another insurance or somebody else who covered that, do I still get the ticket, or how will that work?
So when it comes to insurance, you cannot gain. Let's say, go back to health insurance that I gave an example of. If you have 2 health insurance cards, let's say you have a spouse, woman through her work and your work, and you go for treatment and it's $100. Those 2 companies will pay 50-50. So you cannot
the
get
primary,
right,
depending on which is
exactly. Which. So you're not gonna go home with 100 from the other one because you used one. So it's the same thing for us. Our duty here is to provide an air ticket. Now, if you're already in a plane, you're not gonna fly twice.
Okay.
So we will not be able to give you cash equivalent.
So also there would be no claim in this case. Like let's say like in the case of the Muslim where they've already buried, and you said that I thought you did say that one would be able to claim.
Right.
So in the case that I don't know, maybe you guys are moving too slow or they decided to move fast.
Right.
Whichever the case is, or maybe whoever passed away, their wish was, I want to be buried within a week or within 3 days. So they, everybody goes through, does whatever they need to do, and they're off. Not that you're going to get a body out of the US within 3 days. I don't see it happening because, corona process is like at least a minimum of a week. But, depending again on how you pass away. But yeah. So assuming that all of these things have moved at that rate, does that mean that you cannot come back to claim for a ticket because you already purchased a ticket and you already left as a family? Or
that's different. If you purchase the ticket,
correct,
then we'll give you back. What Bandio was asking is if you have another coverage that gives you a ticket.
Oh, okay.
Then you can't get 2 tickets.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you spend your own money, of course we make you whole.
So I think it's what I used to work in the insurance industry. For those maybe who may not know, it's called a contingent policy. And a lot of times people generally don't know, and they try to trick insurance companies to be paid twice. So contingent policies, for example, like Uber. If you're an Uber driver, Uber has insurance that covers their drivers and their passengers when on board. But these are contingent policies, meaning you have to provide proof that your insurance company said no, for Uber's insurance now to kick in.
Right.
So that's
so
just
it's
generally
a supplemental,
how it works.
but it's only going to kick in if primary denies.
If the primary one did not cover you. Yeah.
If you use the example again of the car insurance, if, like OneMic's Bentley.
Yeah.
Right. If it crashed and he has 2 policies,
yeah,
he'll still get one Bentley, not two.
He'll still just get one.
Even though he paid for two insurances,
Even
because
if he
somebody
paid for
at
two.
home told
Yeah.
him that
Yes.
if he gets, two different insurances, he'll
Right.
get two cars.
Then he got someone to crash the car for
So
him.
then he called.
He was hoping to
called
make two
Jogona,
cars.
and Jogona went and crashed the car.
Yeah.
So now he,
He's left with only one.
because
That guy-
you only know
Gariba
Jogonas.
Mika was saying something.
Sorry,
Mika.
Mika, go
Paul
ahead.
Ebika.
No, mimi nasema Njuguna aligonga na tow truck.
Actually, those,
Eh?
that sounds like something when Mike would be.
Yeah, but that's how things work.
Yeah.
And staying with the enhancements, we all know how our data, what's happening, especially in the US.
Correct.
Today, somebody is impersonating Ali. I'll go get a mortgage. You'll find that you're paying the mortgage, but I'm the one owning the house, etc. So we've also partnered with a company called Sontic. Sontic is part of TransUnion, but their main work really is data theft protection.
Okay.
So they scour the dark web. If they'll see your password and all, they'll email you, say, we've seen this in the dark web, go change your password.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody ever stole your identity and went and borrowed money, they'll help you restore your identity. You can call them and they'll cancel all your cards, your driver's license. They'll help you, be able to operate legally, because there's somebody else who's saying they're, Omosh out there.
Yeah.
And now there are two of you. Who's the real one?
Yeah.
So
Will
again,
the real Omosh please stand up?
yeah, this is another benefit at no cost. Just for being a member, all you have to do is activate it, and you'll be able to get the email. You'd not pay for it. Moreover, if you do travel abroad, we know there's some countries that you need a VPN. AW will give you that VPN through Sontic. You don't have to pay for it. So all these new benefits actually beat the $90 that you'll be paying.
Oh wow.
So far, those are three.
Yeah, so
That's
those
three.
those are additional benefits. There's of course the fact that you can call the Cigna number and get like
Dial a doc.
telemedicine. Yeah, you can dial a doc.
Dial a doc.
And then now there's this identity protection, which people underestimate so much, but it can wipe out your net worth if you're not careful. And there's one that I signed up for. I think I don't know if it was Equifax or one of these credit reporting agencies. They messed up and they provided like free monitoring for was it for 2 years? Yeah,
Yes,
and it's
yeah.
very interesting when you sign up for those services. Unatumiwa email, unaambiwa at your information is in the dark web, and it was lifted from like a parking app that you have.
That was not Equifax.
I think it was Equifax,
One of
either
those.
Equifax or Experian, one of those. I can't remember
Experian.
which one it was, but they send you an email and they tell you, like this app that you're using, data was stolen. Because sometimes
Correct, yes.
your data is stolen even in very big organizations like Target. Target has been involved in a data
Marshalls.
breach. Yes, so don't think because you're careful that somebody can't sneak in and steal your data. Even in a petrol station, in a gas station,
Right.
that's another place where data is stolen. On ATM machines that people use, there's something that people
Yeah,
put.
they add the little
Yeah,
thing inside. It's like a
ukiweka-
reader.
yeah, ukiweka
inside.
kadi yako. Nowadays they've upgraded the cards and those readers no longer work because of these new cards. But those readers used to be inserted and it gives everything, like the card number, the expiration date, and everything. Someone needs to go on a shopping spree on Amazon. A couple of comments coming in here. And Uno, hatuja kusikia sana leo. Talk to us.
Let me first say, I am a card-carrying member of OUR. Yes. But when you think about it, $90 a year if you're single,
Mm-hmm.
$200 if you're a family,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't, you never have to worry about, like you say, the mchango. You never have to worry about, getting people together or tapping tapping into your savings account or whatever. Uko na peace of mind. You never have to worry about that. Now, in addition to that, the amount of money that you save, unaweza peleka pre-wedding. That's a topic for another day. It's a topic for another day. But I think people should, and I think somebody asked a question over there, or maybe made a statement. I think we are willing to do other things, but not really invest in ourselves.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because one thing is for sure, sisi ni wapita njia. At some point in time,
we're gonna die.
our number will be up. Our number will be up. And you don't want to burden your family like now, or even your friends, with the idea of transportation. With the idea that, hey, Maze, Sasa, if you want to be buried here or you want to be buried in Kenya, $200 a year.
That's nothing.
$90 if you're a single guy.
That's normally like one
$90.
mchango. That's normally one mchango in
Or
the
a
chama.
half.
I
That's
said
even
no,
half.
no. That two sock that is normally that's what you're
yes.
giving.
Yes.
$90 is what someone goes and spends, you know, like at Swahili Village, you know, like just on a random night.
Random, good
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
Yo, that's it. But yo, Sasa, you with that $90 that you have just
For a
put
whole
up
year.
for a whole year,
Hakuna kusumbuana.
$90 ni food yako umekula in a day ukiuba eats chakula.
Ukiuber Eats, ukienda Kadunda, if you go to the liquor store, depending on your
Tuna hiyo 200 ya
yeah, uko na mabeshte,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But for a year, from the mob, from the funeral home, mpaka ulazwe, you don't have to worry. So now if you have, let's say, medical bills, that's a different story. Hiyo ni story ingine.
Yeah.
Unaget? Hiyo ni story ingine. But I think, I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
Because these mchangos, you know, like even for those of us, I mean, of course, there's the family, but even for those of us who maybe are not directly affected, when you think about it, you know, like every month you get like 2 or 3 or sometimes even more. You
Yes.
know, like
And that's
So you're still spending that $90.
yeah, you're still spending it
More than that.
And you know,
Yeah.
you know, at a certain point, to me, it got to a point where I had to select which one's Nachanga and
You
which
have
one's-
to- you have to select.
It got to that point.
You are supposed to be a community leader.
No, sorry. On that, I'm glad to be a community follower because you know, like these things were coming, you know, like every week. Ushatoa moja, and you're like, okay, you know, like, and then ingine, na ingine.
Because it's gonna get to this point. Like he talked, you know, you cannot drive a car without insurance. At some point, your insurance, if you get stopped, see, that's a fine. Your car gets towed.
Mm-hmm.
You get
Points.
a fine.
Yeah.
You get points,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Now there is
Probably an
It
insurance
is-
surcharge.
it is here. Ndio hii hapa. You live in Texas. You live in Alabama. You live in Maryland. And at some point, many of us, you know, are conflicted. Some will want to be buried here. Some will want to be buried in Kenya, right? Unless unless you're Muslim, where now it's hapo.
Yeah.
So now, with that being said, and there's an opportunity, there's a service that is being offered that it guarantees you peace of mind. Meaning you don't have to worry about Django, GoFundMe, WhatsApp group. No. If you live here, I think at some point, maybe like Obamacare, you know, where it said you have to have mandatory insurance even if it's minimum.
Yes. I'm on a cooler fine.
I'm on a qualified. I
Yeah.
think people should. Well, I'm not trying to say whatever before they mess
Actually,
up.
there are some countries that now
But I think-
require it. If you want to get a Schengen visa, they ask for your health insurance and they want to see repatriation.
Yeah,
There's
kidding.
a reason.
Oh wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because they don't want you to die, Huko, then you become their burden.
They also don't want you to go to hospital there. So you will not get a visa if you cannot produce those things.
Okay, so like travel insurance.
Wow.
No, health
Oh,
insurance.
that is
No,
new.
Oh, health insurance.
Yes, because the Schengen pretty much is what? All of you? Is that all of Europe?
Schengen is part of the
about
EU.
European Union.
It's some of the EU countries.
Quite a number, right?
Yes.
Quite a
Yeah.
number of countries.
So they'll ask you.
It is
Even
quite a
coming from
number
the
of
US,
countries.
they will tell you.
But now the question is if they're asking for health insurance, because I know, you know, like for example, if you have American health insurance, most of it will not cover you when you're abroad. So is that the kind of insurance they're asking for, or is there like another special insurance they want you to have while you are there?
So they want to see that you're not going to be a burden. So if they look at your care first here
Mm-hmm.
and they'll see this cannot work in Geneva,
Yeah.
they will ask you and they'll tell you which ones you can buy that they
Yeah.
will accept. So
Mhm.
you don't just show up
Yeah.
with
Yeah, like maybe the Thomas Cook
Allianz.
one or
Yes.
whatever. Yeah, they have the travel.
Allianz International.
those ones won't work. The travel insurance won't work.
So Allianz is not gonna work.
They
So
will-
so what if your insurance is not working, but they want you to get some supplemental travel insurance?
They will tell you which ones they
Okay.
accept.
Okay.
When
Which
you
ones you
apply.
should purchase for,
Right.
for that.
So they'll tell you
Wow.
we
Cover
recognize,
yourself for
we
that trip.
recognize this one.
This is
Oh,
new.
wow.
And we've seen that even folks from DC who have international coverage, they'll come to us and say, can you verify that Omosh has this? So we issue a letter
Okay.
to confirm that that insurance is good.
Okay.
Otherwise, we have to buy. So countries are starting to ask for this. We don't want this matter to be legislated. I think what people need to do is just look at what's happening every day. A lot of times when I talk to folks, they say, oh, I'm going to get my parents are here. I'm going to get... We somehow seem to think that only the old folks will die. And 9 out of 10 people, if you look at the obituary in the US, it's not old folks.
Younger people are
Right.
dying
Under
too.
35.
Younger people.
Yeah.
So there's an
Under
airline
35s,
one
yeah.
Mike told me about yesterday. What was it again? That's still loading.
Mungu Airways.
It loads every day. And Aibagui,
Where? Aichagui.
Aichagui,
Aikagui.
anytime.
Eh,
Inabanduka lakini.
okay.
Inabanduka when it haibanduki lakini inabanduka
Guys.
ikishajaa.
You guys-
Mungu
you guys
Airways.
are
It's
so-
true though.
So uncool.
Now, Mimoko Inange is saying $90 is what I was planning to use for Reggae Fest this weekend. But after this discussion, enyewe ina make sense to register our hashtag new member. So there you go. You have a new member. You know,
We'll be
someone
looking
has sacrificed their $90
They are
for
reggae.
Reggae Fest.
See, Omosh will play reggae here.
Eh? Oh, by the way.
Yeah, we can play her, we'll play her reggae song. We'll
Yeah.
play her reggae song.
Yeah, and of
Wow.
course we know nobody can stop the reggae, but that's a discussion maybe we'll have next week.
What?
Other comments that are coming in here.
Mtu ameuliza I'm curious about what people are ordering for $90 on Uber Eats.
Well,
It all depends on how many people you have.
At the pre-wedding. Okay.
No, but then again, look at it. You know, there are people who eat 3 meals a day, like 1 order, especially people who working from home. You find somebody ordering 3 meals a day. That's $90 very easily.
Siapike.
where?
No,
Una order,
yeah, Uber Eats,
you're,
yeah.
you're working from home and you're ordering 3 meals
Correct.
on Uber Eats.
Yes.
Watu wako na pesa.
Yes. Unaweza pata umse anatwanga jobs katatu ama mbili.
Yeah, the people who
Ana
do that,
time ya
a lot of
kupika.
people do.
Asha.
Ana time juu
Yeah.
kuna monitor A, B na C na C ni just in case.
Okay, as we wrap up here, you know, tell us real quick, what's the difference between this hour coverage and for people who have like traditional life insurance? Because life insurance is a whole other topic that we haven't really covered here on the OneMic show that I think we do need to cover at some
No,
point.
we have to.
But what's, you know, like for someone who has, you know, like their life insurance, do they still also need this coverage, or how do you reconcile those two?
They need it. Sometimes people think they don't need it. And let me just go back and say, our is not life insurance. It's a membership organization that gives you those benefits that we've been talking about: repatriation, teledoc, and data protection. Your life insurance, what I ask people is, why did you buy life insurance? It's for those you leave behind.
Yes.
So when you start using your life insurance to take you back home, it's like now ordering Uber Eats for your kids. But when the Uber Eats gets to your house, you start biting their food. Why didn't you order yours? So get yours.
But isn't that what parents do? I'm just asking.
Shut up.
Quality
Sorry.
control.
Quality
However,
control, thank you.
there are some insurers that have riders to pay
Yes.
for repatriation.
Or last rights.
What I don't know is if they're paying immediately. And even if you have that, we will still pay. Because for us, we're paying upfront. We're not waiting for things and everything. We'll pay from day one. Your insurance might take a while to kick in. So when that insurance then pays, then your family can have more money.
When you say you're paying
And then most
upfront,
insurance usually take somebody people older, not even younger guys. When
Okay.
it comes to dealing with burial costs and death costs, they tend to cater for older people instead of just anybody whatever age.
okay. Now, when you said that, when you were talking about you pay upfront, do you mean like if, you know, like an event happens, you know, someone dies, do you cut a check and send it to the beneficiary, or do you deal with the vendors who are providing services, like pay the funeral home directly or pay the airline direct? How does this work? Or do you-
We pay directly. So when somebody passes on,
yeah,
we get contacted.
yeah.
We'll ask for partner information, where the person, what funeral home. we'll get in touch with the funeral home,
Okay.
and they'll bill us.
Yeah, just like regular insurance gets billed.
Right.
Okay.
The only thing with the insurance, it takes a while to do.
process
Yeah, 'cause
it,
they,
yeah.
do all
yeah,
that.
they do the
Mm.
verifications, and then
Right.
funeral home says, okay, fine, no problem, we'll go ahead, we'll deal with them on the back
Right.
end.
But when they
yeah,
do that, the insurance still will pay them much later.
correct, yes,
they
I
just
think it's
accept
like a net
the way
30
they
or something.
the way it works with insurance is that funeral homes have a place to go and get funding for that amount. So it's going to cost a little bit more, but there are people who invest in those kind of things. So they'll go and tap money somewhere. They have those organizations. They'll get their money, and then the person who gave them the cash will make a little bit of money, so that they're able.
Got you.
So they're not sitting actually waiting for the insurance money. Somebody
Okay.
else gave them that money.
Okay.
It's a loan shark.
For us, we'll pay. As soon as we get the bill, we will pay. Now, I have to be clear. When it comes to certain things, then there's a limit. You cannot go and select a casket that's, 15,000. So it's a standard casket that's permissible for airline travel. Right.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't mean it's the cheapest.
Okay.
It's maybe around 3,000.
Yeah, you can't go get a golden casket.
Now, if you want the golden one, you
Yeah.
can top up. We'll pay the standard.
Mm-hmm.
Or you'll
there.
pay whatever your limit
Right.
is, and
Right.
then
Right.
okay.
So we'll be able to do that.
Okay. And then I was also curious, for those of us who, like back to my community again, our funerals are very cheap, so is there, because I was thinking, because maybe funeral may cost maybe $2,000 or maybe less than that, do you guys now top up? Because
Give the family a loose 14.
yeah, you give the family a lose like a 8K, because the funeral was cheap. The vendors,
Yeah, they-
hakuna nini,
They used
hakuna
kanzus, they
hakuna
didn't have-
coffin.
yeah.
We use like the white shroud to wrap a dead body, which costs maybe
They used
max
soap.
like $20 or $30. So hakuna kuka top up kanakuja hapo because of being cost effective.
Now, when we talk to the insurance company, those are all the things they aggregated and said some people it's going to be more expensive
Yeah,
and others way cheaper. Same way with healthcare.
yeah,
You have a healthcare card, hata hospitali haujui iko wapi, you don't go. But there's somebody who goes regularly.
yeah.
Correct.
They are benefiting from you not going. So it then kind of works out.
It
Because you're
evens
only
out.
paying maybe $90 or $100 a year.
Okay.
So you'll say, you know what, even if I pay this $100 a year for 30 years, you need 3,000. And that's what I believe a funeral would cost. So unless you're putting that money under a mattress, $100 every year, if you get 3,000 and you project you'll be here for another 30 years, that's my calculation. So you're still coming out ahead,
Okay.
even in your community,
Okay.
even though we are not going to spend as much because somebody else we're going to spend a lot more.
Okay.
Right.
So we're gonna be paying for other people who might need the more money.
That's the whole concept of, and that's how
Insurance.
Mike's Bentley is paid.
Kuna mtu amesema hapa
Which one?
Probox.
Probox.
Two
The one that
Proboxes.
the one that Njuguna Nini
Yes, the one we talked
the
about,
one
yes,
that
yes.
was
Aya,
Yeah.
sasa remind watazamaji hapa, like again, those who want to be members, remind them again where they need to go and maybe how they can contact you, like if
Sure.
they need more information.
Sure. So to enroll, it's very easy. Again, we do not need ID, passport, hizo hatujali. We just need your name, contact information, phone number, next of kin, your family members. Ukiweka hiyo yote, then you select your payment, and that's it. We do not communicate with you unless we have a new benefit. We do not give out your information to anybody. Watu wa plot wamekuja kwetu wasema tupatie information. No, we
Yeah.
do not. We do not share information with anybody. So once you do that and you pay until the following year for your renewal, it's automatic. You don't need to do anything. So to do all that, you just need to go to africawelfareassociation.org. If you want to communicate with us on WhatsApp, the number is +1 202 999 9175.
Okay, that's a WhatsApp number.
It's a WhatsApp number.
Okay, all right. So watu wa WhatsApp, mko na namba yenyu, we are gonna post that number on the comments there. And with that said, this is it for the News and Politics Hour. I want to thank Lawrence Muraya for gracing us with his presence today. Unless there was something else.
No more swallies.
Eh?
Yeah, I have 16 questions.
Ask.
Okay, ask the last one. Akuna 16. You can ask one more.
Combine them.
And then we move.
This guy, 16 ain't worth it. He's worse than. Anyway, before I was rudely interrupted by this guy who was looking at the clock. So, in essence, from what you have just said, I want to be a member. I come in, sign up, go sign up, put in my family information, and by family you mean immediate family. So hypothetically, spouse, partner, whatever, plus kids. Correct.
Right.
So my mother, my father, those are not covered under this.
No.
So they would need to, I guess, that family
Get their own
unit
coverage.
Are they in the
to-
diaspora? And diaspora is
Yes.
Rongai.
Oh, correct. Let's say they are.
Yes.
Okay.
They're in the,
If they're in the
they're in the
diaspora.
diaspora. Yes,
Here's how it works. After you turn 21,
correct.
you have to get your own
Okay.
membership.
All right.
So you cannot be a dependent.
So a parent is over 21.
Yes.
Okay.
I would assume parents are over 21 if you're existing. So they have to get their own. What we are working on
Yes.
is to tie family accounts together, because if somebody passes away, we would want those families to be able to travel. We
Got you.
haven't yet managed to do that.
Got you.
It's a discussion that we're pushing to have.
Because
Because
that would be like an added benefit.
right, every day we're
Yeah,
working to
that's
see
good.
if we can have better things. I think the first time I was here, I did talk about British Airways. We had a very good deal with BA. If you wanted to fly anywhere for any reason, we were giving 15% just for being an AW member. Now then COVID came, the deal lapsed, and then we found out nobody wants to fly BA. So
Because of the airport tax.
no, the screen, I think the entertainment screen is like an iPhone. It's kidogo when Emirates is giving you, you know. So it's all about entertainment in the
Yeah.
aircraft. So
Eh?
we're starting discussions with
I didn't know. I didn't know.
we're starting discussions with other airlines from the Middle East. It all depends on whether they want the population. Some of them say, look, we already have people from this region. Why should we give an incentive?
Correct.
But those are the kind of things we work in the background to make sure that we're able to give our members discounts while they're still here. And it's not going to cost you anything more. Tomorrow we might talk to Verizon or AT&T and you get discounts on your phone. That's what we
Phone
want to
bill,
give
yeah.
you. Yes, that's
Yeah.
what we want to give you. Your Costco membership. We
Yeah.
want to be able to pass that on to members.
Okay.
Except,
All right.
Is there a limit to the number of dependents and or family members? Assuming I'm one chap and I have 68
15
wives
kids.
and yes, and 34 kids.
Now, if you have that many wives, we need to go back to Keno and tweak the side. For kids, you can add as many kids as you want. However, a family unit is 2 adults, 2 kids under the age of 21. A third kid or fourth, any additional kid is $54 a year.
Okay. Okay.
54.
Yeah, 54.
Okay. Yeah.
Also, the family unit is considered 2 kids.
Two
Two kids and
Yeah.
two adults.
2 adults.
Okay.
Yes,
So
of
I-
either gender.
Can you replace the one adult for a child? Just ask.
But
But that's not a child.
then you're a
No,
single. You're a single parent. So
yes, because if I'm a single parent and I have like 4 kids, I mean that means based upon your analogy, I would be paying 54 for the other 2.
you'll be paying more.
54
So
each.
you want to go to a single parent tier. We have
Oh,
4
yes.
tiers.
Yeah.
So there's a tier for everybody. Now, if you go the family one and you're not family, you're going to pay more.
Okay, so if I went single parent is still allowed how many
2
kids?
children,
So it's 2 kids, and
Right.
then the additionals are back to the 54, or is that a different amount?
54. But remember, now your rate is not 200. It's
Correct.
a lot cheaper.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So for a single parent with 1 kid, they go to the single parent tier,
Right.
and they're good to go. A single parent with 2 kids, same thing.
Right.
But now once you bring in the 3rd kid, then there's that additional
A little bit.
$54.
Right.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
And
Yeah.
it's important also to mention that we cover people from day one in case of an accident. So
Oh,
somebody
there's no waiting period.
there's a 30-day waiting period, but in case of an accident, then we waive the waiting period. And the reason we do that is we don't want people to buy. If it was insurance for a house, nobody will sell you insurance when the house is on fire.
Correct.
Right? When
Yeah.
the fire engine is coming to douse the fire, that's when you're
Yeah.
buying the insurance. So we have that 30-day waiting period, because if somebody has been told now you're going to the hospice,
Yeah, and then
That's
you
when you
buy.
buy.
Yeah.
then
yeah.
the whole thing will collapse.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's not going to work for other
Mhm.
people.
And a lot of insurance companies also have those contingencies, like you can't there was a time, like when I thought I was very smart. Now, before I went and worked in the insurance industry, something happened to my car, and then I went. It was those days when I was moving gangster, nilikuwa sina insurance. Then I went and got insurance. Then I called them, and then they told me, that's when they gave me that clause where like you have to be with the policy, has to be at least, I think that was
30
it 50
days.
it was at least 30 days.
Yeah. 30
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, and that's when I'd already paid, like a premium, and yeah, ikaenda tu hivyo.
Ukanaswa.
Yeah, but yeah, and then I was naswad a second time when I was going to renew my registration, because I thought it was like Kenya. Yani kauna insurance, yani ni yolo mpaka ile siku utashikwa na polisi. But I didn't know
Zero.
I didn't know that ukienda kurenew registration, that's when they remind you, oh, by the way, you're renewing this thing. This car was not insured from. Oh, you're saying
this
it was
day to this
insured.
day.
Yeah. You're saying it was insured.
Hold on.
That's
FR
okay. That's
FR
okay. Letter proof. Letter
Hold
proof.
on.
FR19.
Yeah, FR19. It seems like you'll be in the same situation too.
My friend.
Hata
It
watu wa
seems-
Bentley walipanga insurance.
Hey, like it's funny. Like, is it tabia za Kenya? We brought them here, but that's when you get caught. That's when you know, enyewe, the systems here, like
They
work.
They work, and
Yeah.
they're set up to NASA watu kama nyinyi.
And you see, the good thing, the motor vehicle administration here told me, like they looked at me at that point. That guy knew this guy does not have money. There's a corner in that area.
OVA.
Yeah.
Unaambiwa uende huko kwa watu wanataka financing, then they give you a payment plan. So they renew a registration, but they're like, kwanza go sign up for a payment plan, lipa ka down payment, then utarudi ulipe nini. That's when you know that the systems in this country actually really work.
And that's why with the WA now, sasa kabla ukienda hiyo kona, unapiga telehealth.
Unapiga telehealth.
Unapata
So
mawaidha.
that mentally you can be prepared.
All right.
So wrong.
Sawa
so
sawa.
wrong.
Tumeenda overtime.
Can you guys think about adding a prescription discount card with somebody? Think about it.
We're working on it, but remember, we're doing this worldwide. So when we look at the benefits we want to
got
extend,
got you.
we're trying to do things that I don't want the guys in Germany to say, mbona sisi hatuna.
Or because that,
Tuna
Or the guy in South
that
Africa.
provision
Yeah.
might not be available.
However, we also don't want to deny the folks in the US. So when we find things that we can give our members, we want to give them. If
Okay.
they're not available in South Africa, it's just too bad. We'll find things for folks in South Africa to give them.
Those
Okay.
guys just need a mapiano.
So
All right, so
Welcome.
Sawa, on that note of Amapiano, I think this is it for this hour. I want to thank again Lawrence for gracing us with his presence today. But want you to stay tuned, because what do we have coming up, Uno, in the social segment tonight?
Safaricom, Airtel, SIM card registration, madhogo than you.
Safaricom, that's what somebody called it.
Yes.
Safaricom, they're going to be canceling, some lines. And we're also going to be talking about why Kenyans like maintaining Kenyan numbers, like even when they've been living in the US for 10, 15 years, but they still maintain, like most Kenyans, they maintain a number, Kifika JKIA, you just sweep out your kabambe.
It's just easier, man.
Mm?
It's just easier. But we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
Because even Lawrence actually uses a 254 number.
Yeah, that's what I noticed.
Yes.
Anyway, there was a time when he texted me. I thought it was a guy from committee, and I was like, no, I'm not responding.
I was passing by committee. I was very close.
All
But-
right.
But one thing I
Yeah.
was just wondering with the whole Safaricom, what happened to the original registration? Somebody I saw posted saying that if you have Mshwari and all that and you don't pay, they'll report you to the bureau. And he asked using what information?
Exactly,
If
yeah.
you don't have the information.
But that question was making sense. You're saying you don't have information, but then you have information to report to a bureau. So who are you reporting? Like
Right.
if you don't have that
I think
information.
with the technology we have nowadays,
Yeah.
phone registration can be done on the phone. That's what other countries do.
Mm-hmm.
I was in UAE, and UAE every so often you need to update your paperwork.
Information, yeah.
Right. It's on the phone. They just tell you take a picture of your ID, your new ID, upload. Now their technology is so advanced. If you're not inside the UAE, you cannot do it.
Oh wow, that's
they'll-
interesting.
Yeah, they'll tell you switch on your
So maybe,
whatever, location.
so maybe this is where the VPN comes in.
Now in UAE, there's no VPN for UAE. You can be in UAE and use a VPN for Germany, Belgium, whatever. But if you look
But
for
they don't even work that well. They struggle. They throttle them a lot.
Right.
And those Middle East countries have some weird rules, because even like when you're using WhatsApp, you know, there are some countries where you can't call using WhatsApp.
you can't
No,
do
you,
voice.
you know, you can call, you can do Facebook calls, you can do WhatsApp calls,
Yeah.
because they, you know, that and they have two carriers in that country, and those two carriers are both owned by the government.
Where?
So one is owned by Abu Dhabi, the other one is owned by Dubai. Do and Etisalat.
Yeah.
So, and those two carriers control everything: internet, cell phone, cable. No, cable they brought in other companies that came in, but
Me when I was
yeah, they have restrictions in them that they openly tell you we control what you do, what you say. But then the technologies in that countries are so advanced that somebody who goes to Dubai first and then comes here will see America as a third world country.
You know, I realized that I came to realize that you can't call when I was connecting in Qatar. Nilikuwa najaribu kupiga simu, nimepata wifi, very good speeds at the airport. Najaribu kucall. You know, I'm texting someone, namwambia we ni aje nakupigia lakini haushiki. So I don't know, it kind of gives a kafani ring, but it doesn't, you know, but you can't, that's when I learned
Yeah.
that you can't make calls or do video calls when you're there. So I want you to keep it locked, and please remember to share our live stream, like our Facebook page. To those streaming on YouTube, this is the point where we say goodbye, but you can join us on our Facebook live stream because the show is continuing. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on all our social media handles and keep spreading the word. Mimi ni mtangazaji wenu Ali Badawi, aka Mjukuu wa Masai, and you're still tuned in to the One Mic Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, mabibi na mabwana, this is still an encore presentation of the One Mic Show. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that the people's Kamkunji